How do you think that one plays out?
I think people are sleeping on Kobe. Kobe's a dog. Hamzat's dangerous, he's explosive, but I don't think Hamzat can do what he did to Kevin Holland to Kobe and exert that much energy that early on in the fight, because if he does that against a cardio machine like that and he doesn't get him out of there, that could be a long night for Hamzat. I'm sure he's going to be well prepared for that fight as well, cardio-wise, but I think he's going to have to be a little bit more calculated to go with a guy like Kobe, because he's going to be there the entire time of the fight. And we've seen that with the Usman fight, we've seen that with the Masvidal fight, even the Damian Maia fight. Like, the guy is willing to put his face on the line, eat punches, to impose his will, get you down on the ground, and just make it a dogfight.
Aljamain, just in terms of the move to 145, is that something you've been thinking about for a while? It just seems like you're still in your current division, have so much to do, but obviously ambition's driven you your whole career. What's the mindset behind the move?
Really, to avoid fighting a best friend, and so I can eat a little bit more. I'm 170 pounds right now. I'm a big boy right now. I know people are talking about me going to Perth and fight. I'm like, dude, relax. I just did 2 5-round training camps. You know, so I gotta let my body not, like right now. I'm eating everything because I can't stabilize. Because once you do such a drastic weight cut, it's so hard to get your body back to a norm. I thought I would have been like good by now, but I'm still like in this weird, these cravings, and I don't know, it's so bad. You might be pregnant.
But you as a competitor too, I mean, the idea of it, the prospect of it must excite you. So many different fighters, I mean, what a great opportunity for you too as a competitor.
Those guys are dangerous, man. I just watched Arnold Allen and Calvin Kattar. Those are some dangerous dudes, you know, and they're a lot bigger than me. But I do think my style is one of those things, like if we grappled, and I grappled with any one of those guys on the jiu-jitsu night, I mean, come on. I don't think it's even close. That's my personal opinion. I mean, people could tell me I'm wrong. I don't think it's even close. In terms of domination and dominant positions, getting to the mount, getting to side control, getting to back mount, and just keeping these guys there, or even finishing them. That's what I truly do feel what would happen if we grappled. But in a fight, it's different. They got the size, they're gonna have a little bit more power, but I do think I would have a little bit more power as well. And I would be forced to kind of sit down on my punches a little bit more. But at the end of the day, my style is my style. I can be like a Kobe and just grind you and push you against the cage so I can drag you down to the ground. And then once you do that, I think it's off to the races in terms of how long you're gonna last.
And I know it's hard to think too long term, but if you're able to be successful and win another title, I mean, that redefines your legacy, and that's gotta be a driving point for you as well.
Oh, for sure. And not to change the gears, but like, I've trained with Bryce Mitchell. What is he, top 10, top 6, something like that? And the guy is dangerous. He's beating guys, finishing guys, and we have some really good, like he'll say it, we've had some really good competitions in the room, and that lets me feel confident that if I were to go up, I could have success as well. Obviously, I wouldn't be looking to fight a guy like Bryce, because we've trained together so many different times, but yeah, if I did go up to 45, it would be to chase legacy and maybe just give myself a fresh start kind of thing, and just make this sport fun. Because my thing is, like, I would retire once this isn't as fun, and cutting weight is not fucking fun. That's the least fun part about this job. So if I could go to 45 and have a little bit more life, and I could be like, oh, I can make weight 4 times out of the year and have more fun doing it, I would definitely enjoy that. And I think that could be ideal in the sense that I can still make money, I can still compete, do what I love, and not put so much wear and tear on my body, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm at mentally.
Couple questions over here on your right.
What's up?
Who's the loudest in the gym, Sarah or Longo?
Well, if they're both in there, you can't tell. You really can't tell. But Matt comes in with the grand entrance, and he's definitely really, really, really loud.
And who's the funniest? Because they've got, Sarah's gregarious, but Longo's low key. He's pretty goddamn funny.
Longo's funny, but Matt's just like, he can make a joke out of anything kind of thing. And he's like super witty. Kind of reminds me of a Connor, just like right off the rip, just like he'll walk in and just start ripping on something. You're just like, how the hell do you do that? Like, you just walk in and just find something to pick at, and then he can just start attacking you. You're just like, wow. But that's how, I don't know, he's just quick-witted like that. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, he's good. But I would lean towards Matt on that one.
And on a slightly more serious tone, you were talking about your weight, your eating, it's not mentally there. Paddy Pimblett famously thinks he might have an eating disorder because he blews up so much.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on just like yourself, him, other fighters perhaps, and the weight, the food eating, like eating disorders perhaps? How does it process?
Yeah, it's not good. I do think whenever I'm not fighting though, or not training, my eating slows down. So I kind of stabilize, but I feel like right after the fight, you go through this time period where it can last a month, and you're just eating like an insane amount of food where you're just swollen. It just doesn't feel good. Like, and I know this, I consciously know this, and somehow I'm still stuffing my face. It's the weirdest thing. But I'm hoping like after this weekend, I can just be like, okay, now it's time to chill. I can start working out and make it a little bit more of a normal thing, so I can get down to like 65, and then maybe start working out a little bit more, and then I can get down to 60. And then I could realistically look at the next time period where I can fight. Maybe it's April again. So, yeah, it's tough. And he gets huge though, man. I don't get that big.
Well, he starts 20 pounds heavier, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I've gotten up to 176, and that was just disgusting. And it hurt just to walk up the stairs. So, I don't even know how he does it. It's mind blowing, but his transformation is fascinating to watch.
Fair.
We have time for two more. 1, 2.
Do you think that O'Malley didn't get the credit he deserved in his performance against Jan because of the controversial decision?
Yeah, but there was nothing controversial about it. People were screaming robbery. It wasn't a robbery. If you go back and watch the fight and you're not emotionally charged because you made a bet, you'll be like, okay, I see why O'Malley won. I went back and I watched it. I did a whole thing while watching on my podcast, and I did like a whole review, and I went round by round, counting the punches, counting the takedowns, the duration of the takedowns, what did he do with the takedowns, and O'Malley won the fight. I mean, you could try to sway it differently with the takedowns, but he didn't slam him down. He took him down to air Jan, took him down, but O'Malley landed on his hands, and then he sat to his butt. It's not like he got slammed on his back. I'm like, oh shit, that would have hurt if that was on the concrete floor. He landed on his hands. The guy was fine, so you gotta look at it like, what does more damage? And I think O'Malley did more damage in that fight. And I think if he had lost, I agree with him when he said that he would have gotten more respect because it's like, oh, you had a really good fight with the #1 contender guy. That guy's a dog. And then the same thing for myself. I beat him, Jan, and then people start making all these excuses. I'm like, there's no winning. Sometimes there's just no winning with the fans. It's just like all you got to do is just keep winning and let the history books tell the story for you. So kudos to him. Signed the contract.
Aljo, what's going on, brother?
There's no contract, by the way.
So as far as picking fights, I know you're a champion right now. How much say do you have in the opponent that the UFC gives you?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I get that luxury.
I know it's different case by case for everybody. So
Yeah.
if they go April, you're fighting Marab, what happens?
Well, like 1, I respectfully decline, and 2, I'm not fighting Marab, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We haven't had the conversation yet. I'm still in like this transition period of changing like management or staying with management. So it's I mean, like I said before, I'm trying to clean up my house before I jump into something else, and I want to make sure I have everything in order so I can go in with like a fresh mind again and just get ready to focus on the next opponent, the next challenge, and that's really it. So when I do have that conversation with Dana, my voice, I went pretty hard last night. I'm sorry, guys. Went hard in the pain last night. I'm paying for it all day today, hangover. But yeah, when we have that conversation, we'll figure out what's the biggest fight. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I could lose this fight, this belt, the next fight. Okay, so am I going to take a fight that's not going to pay me as much? No, I'm going to take the one that I'd rather take the risk of losing, which you always take a risk, and make as much money as I can while I have this time in the sun. Because everyone has their time. Every time will pass for everybody, and just got to do what I can to provide for myself and my family.
So while there's no clear-cut #1 contender right now, do you really think Cejudo's not the guy? Because if you're chasing legacy, like you said, wouldn't that be a name that you want on your resume?
Like, yes, but at the same time, no, because the guy hasn't fought. It's just like even when Bisping came back and he fought GSP, and I'm just like, I don't know if I would have done that. Like, because, yeah, he's GSP, but the guy hasn't fought in X amount of years. Like, why are you taking, like, I feel like the risk is on us. So, if I beat Cejudo, you beat a guy coming off the couch. Oh, he was off for 3 years. there's always going to be a narrative that people are going to have and try to discredit you. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not fight someone who's actually been in here competing? Give me the guy who's competing, who's the number one guy, who just beat the number one guy.
Well, that's you. You're like the Rodney Dangerfield of MMA. You can't get no respect.
I don't know who any of those guys are, but I'll take it.
But even so Cejudo would obviously be a legacy fight. O'Malley would be the money fight. You don't know which one you're going to get next, but even 145 is possibly an option. Would you entertain anything or just a title fight? Would you take a non-title fight at 145?
Like, right, if I could just fight at 45 for the hell of it, I'll do it right now. I'll do it in February. I would do it in February if I can keep the belt, fight at 45, not have to cut that much weight, and it'd be a 3-round fight. Give me a 3-round fight, I'll walk through that that's easy work. Easy work.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
they're going to try and make it a 5-round, and I don't want to do that.
We had Frivola in here yesterday talking about how good you are, and he's a 55er, and then Menace Bermudez would always sing your praises, and he was a 45er, so I think you could definitely win some fights moving up.
I appreciate it. Dennis and I had some interesting sparring matches. And I remember when Frivola first came down to Long Island, back to Long Island to train, and we rolled, I think, one day, and then I asked him if he could spar with me. And I didn't know anything about the guy. I knew he was undefeated, came in like a juggernaut, and the first thing I did was I just took him down. So, yeah, we had some fun sparring sessions and some fun rolls. So, yeah, I think I can hold my own with those guys. But again, when you're talking about being punched in the face, that changes the entire dynamic. It's not a wrestling match. It's not a jiu-jitsu match. It's an MMA fight.
And I know you're very analytical, and you know the way you size somebody up. When you sized up Andrew Tate, granted he's bigger than you, did you sense some realness there? Is he legit?
He's got some skill. I don't think he's the best guy. I mean, I think you could watch the tape and analyze his skill and his technique yourself. But he's got some talent. I mean, when he was doing it full time, I'm sure he looked a lot cleaner than he does now. And that happens with anybody. If you stop doing it for a certain amount of time, you're not going to look as good and as sharp. So I think now he just trains for a hobby, from what he was telling me, just to stay in shape, him and his brother and whoever he's fucking around with. But top G.
Over here, Aljo. Just 2 quick questions over here. Are you coming out with any Aljo backpacks? Any Aljo branded backpacks?
We're trying. I posted something on my IG to try to get like some people, but then I got flooded, and I'm like, there's no way I could vet all these people and have a conversation with everybody. Just not enough time in the day. So I had them kind of send that over to like management and the guys that are running my website. So that's what we're doing right now to try to see what we can do. I do have a rap song coming out. My brother finally finished his stuff. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be pretty dope. And if it's not, boo me, but I think it's gonna be good. So I'm excited to drop that. Hopefully we can get that out in like the next 2 weeks. I think might get my fiance on there. She wants to do some ad-libs. She wants to add a female touch. I'm like, okay, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a bang.
Yeah, the female touch is definitely always right.
Yeah.
And,
So we'll see.
And who, like, besides the popularity, who do you think is more dangerous for you? Is it Chito or is it Sean?
There's such different styles, man. Like, Cheeto's more dangerous with those kicks. I think he's very hittable. Sean isn't as hittable, and his footwork makes it more of a trap when you try to track him down. He can counter very well. Not a lot of guys can fight well going backwards. He does a very good job fighting well going backwards and being accurate as well while going backwards. So I just think it's a different puzzle. But who would be more dangerous, like against my style? Maybe Cheeto, because of the grappling. But then again, with him and Aldo, he was in a body triangle, I don't know, it just looked like he didn't know what to do there. And but I know offensively, he's got good key lock, Kimura lock. I don't know if he's got good arm bars, triangles. So he's a dangerous guy when it comes to grappling. I just don't know how good he is. I don't know. I think they're both very, very different. Both dangerous, but like a different danger for both.
One last thing that popped in my head. I seen the tweet or the post that you released with all your goals, and like looking back on that and seeing how you manifested it now. Like, how does it make you feel?
It chokes me up a little bit, but even when I look back and I saw just to have 175,000 in my saving account, I was fighting Pedro. Going into the year, I didn't fight Rivera yet. I didn't fight Pedro. So that just goes to show you like where I was at financially. I had just bought my house, and those were the goals that I was trying to achieve. And to look back and see that I crushed just about every single one of them, I think it's just a testament to just staying the course, being a student of the game, never losing focus and keeping the perspective on what you're actually trying to accomplish, and never letting nobody get in your head or try to put their insecurities on you to make you believe what they think is something unattainable just because they can't do it. You know, I've had people doubt me my entire career. It just seems like that's just the world we live in. People just want to doubt people when they're trying to do something instead of trying to build them up, prop them up. And I'm just glad that I was able to stay the course and believe in myself and get to where I'm at today. Because to do this, I still don't even feel like it's real. Like I wake up every day, it's still such a surreal thing. I walk down the street, people staring at me sometimes. I'm like, I still have that hood mentality a little bit, like what the fuck you looking at? And then I forget, like, oh, I forget I do this stuff on the TV. But yeah, so it takes me back a little bit, and I just hope I can continue to reach new heights in life. And if I can pull somebody up, that's my ultimate goal, just to try to pull as many people up as I can.
Yep, each one teach one.
That's it.
On a scale from Tyron Woodley to Bryce Mitchell, where would you say your bars rank?
Bryce Mitchell.
Hopefully.
Bryce Mitchell actually has some bars.
That's why the
I'm not-
scale exists.
I'm not saying Willie did it. It's just the delivery and the flow of Bryce was just a little bit smoother, I would say.
It's very diplomatic of you, yes.
Thank you guys.